Are you struggling with Blight? Well, you came to the right place. This video is going to be all about Blight, and we're talking about how to do it in maps and how to do actual Blight maps. So we'll start off with just regular Blights. So let's say that I do a Waste Pool and I throw in a Gilded Blight Scarab. Now, why aren't I doing maps like Dunes or anything like that? Why am I specifically choosing a bad layout? I wouldn't do that for Legion. I would want a lot of Legions to spawn. However, the reason why that's really good is because if Blight doesn't get a lot of space to spawn, what has a decent chance of happening if it's like a bad layout map is that it'll say like 7 on the reward here. Because if it spawns in a very small area where the pump wouldn't be able to do all the lanes, and let's say that this said 9 or 7, but nothing else, then I know that I would get 7 Blight rewards. And that is incredibly strong. So the more cramped you can make Blight, the better it'll be. So in maps, I quite like just like at least throwing down a Chill Tower. A lot of builds, once you have some decent damage, won't struggle with the normal Blight, but it can still be a pain, especially if there is a boss, which there is here. So right now, I'm not 100% sure where the actual boss is going to spawn, but it is going to be in one of the ones down here. So I'm going to make a Seismic Tower to stun it. Between the Seismic Tower and the Chill, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Unless it spawns up here, then I'm a little screwed. As you can see, it can spawn in that one and in the ones down here. Now, I might not have been paying attention, but maybe that they were like highlighted early because sometimes they're grayed out and then it's easier to see which one it is. So it was actually down here. Now, one Seismic Tower isn't going to perma-stun, but it'll help a lot. And then it turns out that I do have enough damage. If it was getting past this, what I could do as well, I could turn it into a Glacial Cage Tower. And that can sometimes help you out a lot with bosses that are going through your defenses. So at the moment, you see that I got pretty lucky and I got 4 of the Blight rewards. But yeah, if it had like, you know, 1 node with 7 rewards or 11 rewards, literally everything would be Blight oils and Blight maps. And the reason for that is because you're guaranteed at least 1. So if it only has 1 reward, they're always all the same. Here I got a lot is very lucky, but really, really nice to keep that in mind. And Blight can be a very rewarding mechanic. Next up, let's cover Blight maps. One important thing to know is that you can anoint them. The most powerful anoint if you're struggling is the Amber Oil. It'll increase the pack size, which will give you slightly more reward, but it's incredibly cheap and it's reduced cost of building and upgrading towers. So once you've anointed a map, remember you cannot do a new one. So make sure that you know what you want on the map. You can do things like, I think it's Teal, Azure, and Crimson are all like pretty reasonable for getting better rewards or better rolled rewards, but even like just Amber Oil will make it go very fast and very easy. But even just Amber Oils is always like a really good choice for making sure you're always completing the map, especially if you're going to do Blight Ravaged map later on. Another thing that can be pretty important is anointing your rings. So I will now search for the Meteor, and this one is really good. It's Indigo and Violet. Meteor towers create burning ground for 3 seconds on hit, and having another one with something like increased effect of chill, which is double violet, would be really good. Very important to know that you can enchant your rings. So now I've anointed my rings. I have 1 with burning ground. I have 1 with chilling towers. There isn't a huge reason to roll your maps, but now it will actually have a larger difference than it did before. You can see at the top, item quantity modifier affect Blight tests at 25% value. So the number one thing to watch out for, I don't feel like damage is too bad, but I really like to make sure that I don't make it too tanky. One of the number one things you really want to avoid is monsters cannot be stunned. That can be incredibly dangerous. So here we've got LA Reflect, Hexproof, monsters deal extra cold and cannot inflict exposure. That's fine. So what I like to do, I like to start up by putting my portal in a location I'm probably not going to run to. Misclicking your portal can be very annoying. Now, first I try to look, are there any anti-stun or anti-minion towers? If there's no anti-minion, honestly, you could spam minion towers, the scout ones, and that can actually take care of the entire thing. But now what I do is I start looking for areas like this. If I now put a Seismic Tower here and a Chill Tower here, the only ones that are going to go through that is these two, and they thankfully don't have a boss. So I will have to do some damage myself in this, but if it didn't have that, I would probably be home free and I could just AFK. But I'll walk you through how I do the blight map now. It does start off very slow as well, and there are mechanics you can do, or one of the oils that'll speed it up by like 25% or something. It'll speed it up quite a lot. As you can see, I really want to try to build around the chokeholds. It could be nice to have a seismic or the chilling tower that does like a glacial cage at the end. Definitely very, very doable. I'm sitting here hoping that more towers will spawn here. Something that can happen, especially in the Blight Ravage maps, is that you will just get screwed. And a large problem with Blight is that our towers stop working when we aren't looking at them. So if we're a screen and a half away, they will stop moving. I'm guessing this is like a thing to like save resources, but it is really, really frustrating. And that's why I try to build so close to here, so that if I'm standing here, it'll still work. Whereas if I run too far away, they will just walk past the tower as if nothing happened. I can build a couple of meteor towers here. That'll kill a lot of things while they're moving here. And meteor towers ends up being a great way to deal with bosses. And with the burning ground, you'll see that it ends up clearing a lot of stuff. You see, I don't actually need to do that much. I don't know if this is the stun immune ones, but either way, you can see it's a little unfortunate that we didn't get towers here. Obviously, I can build something here as well. I'll do a seismic tower at the end. Gives me a few extra seconds to do some damage before things get in. I'll do a seismic tower here, a freezing tower here. There you can see I went too far away and they went straight through my towers. So this is honestly a pretty bad layout because I would have to stand here for both my towers. I'm going to show you now. We might end up failing because of this, but I'm going to show you that that boss that is permastun is now going to go straight through. If I run far enough away. Yeah, either way, it will be making its way past once it gets like unstunned. You see, if I do go over here, it's pretty much permastun, but anyway, it does very often, yeah, like just goes completely past it. So a little bit unlucky on all the layouts here. This is now pretty nice because you can see that there's a lot of things here. I'm now going to have 2 seismic towers here. Anything that isn't seismic immune is not getting past these 2. Now, if I get even luckier and say I had a 4th tower here, let's say that this one would be here, I really like building an empowering tower. That'll make them stun a lot faster. Now, since I know that this is our weak point, I want to make sure that I'm helping out on this side. And this thing, since it's not stun immune, it has no hope in hell of getting past. I would like to have a meteor tower somewhere near it to like start clearing things as well. And having a meteor tower up here, I guess this might be in range. We'll see if that can help us clear some things out. But either way, it's pretty much permanently stunned. We're gonna not bother with helping up there anymore. We'll just focus on controlling the bottom area here, so we don't even need to look at the top one. There is a lot of bosses that are gonna spawn there, but nothing is gonna get past our especially the empowered stun tower here. You can see that all of those bosses, none of them are gonna get through. Unless there are anti-stun things up there. That will get through, obviously. Hopefully they should stop around there. You could get unlucky with proximity shield as well. So do keep that in mind. We're going to start taking out some up here now, I guess. Not much happening on the bottom one. You definitely can get to the point where you are doing nothing very easy, especially if you get a good layout. One thing to be really, really worried about, I think it's called Spore Plume. I can't exactly remember, but it's the dude that splits into multiple bosses. That can very, very easily wipe your run, especially on your low damage character without any fault of your own. Let's say that he was stuck here and you started killing him. He starts splitting into multiple, and maybe 1 or 2 gets past your stun area because they're kind of pushed away. Each of these bosses count as 10 for the pump durability. So they can be a little bit frustrating. And this is honestly one of the worst layouts. Look here that we only have 2 towers, then you definitely have to help out here. Build things around as well. But you can see how stable it is here. Like, we realistically don't even need to do anything. I think there's only 1 anti-stun tower, but you can see everything's pretty much perma-stun. And we could have that tower in an ideal location where everything's affected by it. Then they'll be slower, they'll be stunned more often. A big warning, if I imbue this now or even weaken it, they stop affecting the towers. So now things might start getting through a little bit better. Same with if I upgrade this to a temporal tower, they will be slow. So, and that'll stack with the chill, but they will no longer be perma-stun locked. So that's why we don't always upgrade to the highest. You can see that it is moving more now too. That's why we don't always upgrade to the highest, so keep that in mind. Blight is a great place to get rings for Lore Weave. It gives you a lot of rewards, and then you just run around clicking all the chests. You might have to do a few inventories worth of stuff. Great place for divines as well. Early offerings to the goddess. Just honestly, great all around for rewards. And yeah, each Blight map's going to take you 5 minutes, unless you use oils that speed it up. So, I hope this video helps you with Blight, and I hope you have a great time in the upcoming Crucible League. If the video helps you, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.